Hello, I'm that James guy, and this is my Infiniti QX55 rental car that came complete, very dirty, and with a nice dent in it, which I failed to notice till now. So hopefully that doesn't come back to haunt me. So this morning I found myself in Alberta, flew into Alberta, went to pick up my economy rental car, and they were all out of stuff, so they gave me this fancy Infiniti. So I've been driving it around for about 350 kilometers, and that's just enough to get some pretty strong opinions on a car, I'd say. So if this is a video where you want all the details about, you know, specs and trim levels and pricing and what comes with what, wrong video for you. But I do know about the engine. I remember when these engines came out. That's kind of one of the highlights of this car. And the highlight is that it's neat, but it's really not that impressive, I guess you could say. Bear those things in mind. Also bear in mind that I'm comparing, my baseline here is my 2021 CX-5 Mazda. And so I know I'm comparing an Infiniti to a Mazda, but the Mazda is pretty nice. And I know I'm biased because I spent my hard-earned, well, my earned paycheck on it. And so obviously I'm gonna like it. I have to like it because I paid money for it. But anyway, that's kind of the baseline here. That's kind of what I'm kind of in the back of my mind comparing it to. In no particular order, here's the things that I've noticed that I like and I don't like. First of all, this car looks fantastic. I mean, just look at it. It's beautiful. They certainly nailed it in the looks department. The interior, very nice. It's very well put together. It feels good. I initially had a very big problem with the infotainment system. You could barely read it. It's very dim and stupid, hard to figure out. Of course, I had forgotten my iPhone charging cable, so Apple CarPlay, which is wireless, yay. I was fearing that my iPhone would go dead. This thing does not have a wireless charger, so I basically had to stop at a gas station, buy a charging cable so that I could actually use my phone. I found a setting in the infotainment setting, and it was like a day or night mode, and it was on night mode. So as soon as I switched that over, it looks fantastic, and I like it again. That being said, a square screen for Apple CarPlay is kind of dumb. I like it a lot more when Apple CarPlay is on a longer, wider screen, like my Mazda, as you can see here. Some of the other things, this engine, like I said before, this is kind of crazy technology. This is like the first and maybe only variable compression engine. So Infiniti launched this a few years ago, and with some crazy trickery, it has some funky mechanism in the crankshaft. It actually physically changes how high the piston goes in the cylinders and physically changes the compression. Now, that seems complicated. It is complicated. Most OEMs basically will have a very high mechanical compression ratio, but they'll use trickery to kind of fool itself into being lower dynamic compression, or effective compression, I guess you could say. And they do that with variable valve timing and EGR. You can kind of trick an engine into thinking its compression is lower than it really is for when you're under full load and stuff like that, and you don't want to have super high octane gas. They can protect themselves that way. This engine actually physically reduces the compression using this mechanism, which is kind of neat, but in reality, I don't know. It's a 2-liter with 268 horsepower, which it's pretty good, but it's not like, wow, you know? And the fuel economy, I think I've averaged, like, this is just highways going like 115K an hour, or 70 miles an hour, like 7.9 liters per 100 kilometers. That's not that good. Like, I would have thought with all this technology with variable compression, you could at least, you know, it'd pay off in a certain way, but it doesn't seem to be doing so. The other thing is the transmission. It is a CVT transmissions, which normally I really, really hate because it just kind of makes the engine drone. But since it's turbocharged, it has a lot of torque. I don't know much torque. Go look it up. 268 horsepower, lots of torque down low, like any modern turbocharged engine. It seems to shift at a really low RPM, so it's not droning. It kind of, and the interesting thing is, as you take off, the RPMs stay nice and low and it accelerates. And it comes to a certain point where then it gets shift points. It's like anything above 50 kilometers an hour, 30 miles per hour, It actually has proper shift points after that, and if you put it in manual mode, it is an 8-speed. But again, it's synthetic. It just kind of seems fake to me. Why wouldn't they just put a real 8-speed automatic in? But that's just me. As for the engine itself, it sounds okay when you boot it. It goes pretty good. As you can see here.
Crash reported ahead on Highway 2 South in 500 meters.
This dynamic or this variable compression thingy with the turbo, you can see there's this interesting kind of weird gauge that you can kind of monitor with. At the end of the day, it just kind of bounces around and does crazy stuff, and I don't know if it really means much, but anyway, that just kind of shows you the relationship with the compression ratio and the turbo boost and all that kind of stuff. Kind of funky, but at the end of the day, One amazing thing about this car that I've really learned to appreciate with my brief time with it is the way this thing handles. The road feel, the grip, the everything. This is an excellent, excellent handling car. I'm really, really impressed. Very much so. And the power and it's a really lovely thing to drive. Let's see if we can make some noise. Alright, you know, it goes pretty good. I like it. Adaptive cruise, it's okay. Nothing out of the ordinary. The lane keeping is absolutely tragic with this car. If you approach the line, it beeps at you and it slams on the brakes on the right side of the car to kind of veer it kind of over. It doesn't actually use a steering input, which would be preferable, obviously. And I mean, other than that, there's not much else to say about the way this thing drives, to be honest. So conclusion, this is a very good car to drive. Very nice car, comfortable, looks amazing, good fit and finish, lots of power. Fuel economy is, you know, ish good. I guess for 268 horsepower in a car this nice to drive on the road, that's pretty good. I like it. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. A very binary score here. It's either thumbs down or thumbs up. Thumbs up. And that's it. I think we'll leave it at that. I hope this was helpful or at least mildly entertaining. If it was, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Instagram, __James __Guy, and I will see you next time.